We good.
That.
I thought you had an intro.
Why do I have an intro? I'm the analyst.
I don't know. You said before we started recording that you had an intro and you were so excited.
Oh, yeah.
I was giving you the floor.
When I said that, I meant you enter me in.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I segue to what I'm going to say, which will basically make you laugh your ass off.
Well, that's the hard open now for the entire podcast, so.
Shit.
What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 619 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's KB coming at you from Underground Studios and joining me every single time and every single Sunday into Monday to get your week started off on the right foot, or maybe you want to start it on the left. It is the host with the most, the people's champ, Mr. Patty Pitts.
What's poppin', my dude? What's on my peeps? Fuck, that was ridiculous.
I get you every time.
I hated that one. That was so good. But I felt like Kris Kringle singing a Christmas tune. Put one foot
in front of the other.
That's how you start your day. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and then just go.
Exactly.
I mean, gee, that's kind of how I felt the past few days. It's been, dude, madness. My life has been just absolute madness the past week, and it's just only going to continue because we're in the month of March.
Absolutely. And speaking of, we have Underground Madness Volume 2 with myself and Stevie Mac. And on Thursday's episode, Stevie Mac is going to be joined by the one and only Ryan Hammer, big-time college basketball influencer, covers the sport in depth, travels the country covering the sport, New Jersey guy, shout out. So Ryan Hammer will be on the show on Thursday with Stevie Mac. Looking forward to that one. But for this show, we'll have Underground Madness Installment Volume 2 with myself and Stevie Mac later on in the program. But we have another Eagles legend calling it a career. We'll talk some baseball. We'll talk some hockey. And the Union got washed out over the weekend, which was an absolute scene. And I can't wait to show Patty Pitts the videos of what the field looked like, because I have never seen a professional sports field look this way in my entire life.
That bad?
It's wild.
Jeez, I can't wait.
But before we get into all of that, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook.com/Underground Sports PHI. Pitsy, we cracked 1,400 on Facebook.
Let's go.
I don't know why. Boys. I don't know why I haven't done this sooner. Because obviously on Facebook, you can invite people to like a page and follow a page, and you can do up to 1,000 invites a day. Oh. I just took CFO Margie's phone.
There you go.
Said, here's the invite. Bang. And we've gotten new followers on there, and the brand new Outside the Box podcast Facebook page, which is closing in on 100 followers in 3 days.
See that we got it. That's great. That's good. Really expanding outside the box. I love that.
I was doing a little math and doing the top 5 most followed accounts in the company. It's pretty wild. Obviously, F1 Threads still taking the case. Shout out to Casey, who's been at IndyCar all week. Can't wait to hear all about that, because the videos have been absolutely awesome that she has posted so far. F1 Underground Threads, main Twitter, OTB Twitter, Underground Facebook, Underground Instagram. Most followed accounts in the top 5.
Interesting. I would think, yeah. I would think getting the whole would be a little higher.
They're working their way there. Stevie Mac is finally realizing the importance of Instagram, and we've been going viral on getting the whole TikTok lately, which has been very fun to watch.
Oh, I can only imagine.
We have a video that has over 230,000 views now.
What?
That was posted in September.
Just that's called longevity. It's just all about the longevity in this field.
They've doubled their following from that video. It's wild.
It's incredible.
But yeah, follow us on the socials. Follow Pitsy on Twitter at Pat_Pitts. Follow him on Instagram and Threads at Pitsy35. Follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311 and on Instagram and Threads at KBIZZLE11. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Really does help the show continue to grow, helps us hit new milestones, allows us to do more dope stuff with and for you guys. So keep subscribing on audio, leave a 5-star rating and review. And we're still in the top 1,500 in U.S. sports podcasts. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Let's keep it climbing.
Pretty damn cool.
Let's keep it climbing. I'm up to something for this show. I'm up to something.
I love when
and then I think it's a doable up to something. So
okay, we like doable stuff.
Stay tuned. But keep subscribing on audio, and if you haven't noticed, some of our podcasts getting a little facelift on their podcast cover arts. They're looking pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, Patty Pitts. This time next week, we'll be doing our Selection Sunday live stream, and you'll be calling in plastered.
Oh no, and more than that. Last year at this thing, I was yelled at by a cop because I was screaming at paraders who went to Gate of Heaven school. They're like, listen, we don't say anything, but you're clearly yelling. We got it. Like, I don't want to get there, but let's go a little step below. We can have a fun time.
It's gonna be
find
a
a
blast.
random bar again.
It's gonna be a blast. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're at 752 subscribers right now. Let's get to 800 before Selection Sunday live stream. Let's make that happen. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. And of course, this show is presented by the City of Vineland, and the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. And through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. I'm pretty sure we are at the 1-year mark of City of Vineland being the presenting sponsor of this show.
I think we're around that. Yeah. It was around that time last year.
Yeah. March 13th was the first ad read. And by the time you guys are listening to this, it'll be March 11th. So, been a year with the City of Vineland. Let's fucking go. Shout out to the hometown. Let's go. Love the City of Vineland. They've been awesome for us and very accommodating, and working on some fun things with them for 2024. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And of course, big shout out to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. Pitsy, another Eagles legend, has called it a career.
I know. So sad.
And it is brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. The best merch in the game. Hoodies, t-shirts, you name it, they got you covered. Most comfortable merch out there.
Easily,
hands
bro.
down, bar none. If you want to stand out in the crowd, whether it's with the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Union, or Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch, go to phiapparel.co. When you go to checkout, use our code Underground for 10% off your merch orders. It truly does go a long way when you guys buy our merch specifically, but any merch using our code goes a long way. It helps us continue to grow, helps us go and do more things with and for you guys. It is the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing. So go get your merch, phiapparel.co, and use code underground for 10% off your orders. My guy.
I
Now,
know, this is sad.
Obviously, Jason Kelce will always be my guy for many a reason. But Fletcher Cox has been my guy since April 26, 2012.
That's a long time.
The day of the NFL draft in 2012. There have been very few that I've been able to predict and say, that's our guy, that's who we're going after when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, because they are very unpredictable when it comes to the draft for the most part. But in 2012, I knew Andy Reid was trading up to go get Fletcher Cox. I knew we needed a defensive tackle. I knew something. I was like, we're trading up for Fletcher Cox. As soon as I saw that the Eagles were trading up, I was like, that's for Fletcher Cox. And I nailed it. That was the first draft pick I ever got correct.
You visualized it, yeah.
And I was like, that's my guy right there. Fletcher Cox is that dude. Again, it's extremely rare for an athlete this day and age to stay with a team for their entire career. Not only has Jason Kelce now done that, but Fletcher Cox has now done that for 12 years of his NFL career. And I always harken back to 2016 when Fletch signed a 6-year contract extension. Everyone was up in arms about it, questioning why you would sign a guy that long, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. Fletch played out that entire contract and got an additional 1-year contract after that.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good.
I mean, talk about a guy who, we talked about Jason Kelce on the last episode that you and I recorded. Fletcher Cox, equally in that pantheon. He's part of the Eagles' core 4 that have been with this team for over a decade. It was Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, and Brandon Graham. Those are the 4. Fletch just got it. And by it, I mean he was always not only wanting for on and off the field success for the Eagles, but Fletch has always wanted that for every major sports team in Philadelphia. You turn around, Fletch is sitting courtside at a Sixers game. He's wearing a Flyers jersey, repping the Flyers. He's at Phillies games, not only at the games, but in the locker room, in the clubhouse, celebrating with the team when they beat the Braves in the NLDS. He's in the stands, dancing around like one of us to dancing on my own this past season with the Phils, and has always been a proponent for Philadelphia success. And to see a guy come from Mississippi to Philadelphia and just embrace the city, the culture, the organization, and the teams around the city has been so cool to watch. And again, Jason Kelce, it's rare that a center is the face of your franchise. It's also rare that a defensive tackle is so well known, in the zeitgeist of your city. And I know you've got experience with that as a Patriots fan with Vince Wilfork. Same type of vibe.
Guy. No, it takes a special type of guy and player. The best thing about it is the defensive lineman, similar to offensive lineman, but you actually tackle the person, so you get a little bit more recognition. But that's just a dog at the end of the day. It's someone who's just gritty. And for Philly and Boston, we're gritty cities. We are cities that we put everything into our sports team and really anything that comes along in it. And you need a guy like that to be the face of it. Fletcher Cox was perfect for that. And I do see similarities with Wilfork, and look what Wilfork did, for the city. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean, in Fletch's amazing posts that he put up on his Instagram and on Twitter and across his social media, the part that stood out to me was just about the fans and saying, to Eagles fans everywhere, there's not a fan base in all of sports that is as passionate as you. You are intense and demanding, but it's because of how much you care. After spending my career here, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I will never forget the feeling of running out of the tunnel at Lincoln Financial Field or the roar of the crowd after making a big play. One of the proudest moments of my life was holding up that Lombardi trophy at the Rocky Steps while looking out into the sea of fans. It was breathtaking to realize what we were able to accomplish and how much it meant to so many. And like, that's just somebody who gets it. That's somebody who gets it. And, you know, he says, I want to thank Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, Don Smolensky, and the entire support staff for the Philadelphia Eagles. There are too many people to name everyone, but you have all made a tremendous impact on my life and my career. I've learned so much from each and every one of you, and you have no idea how much I appreciate the many ways you helped me grow, not just as a player, but as a young man and into the man I am today. And the first part of it is April 26, 2012 was a special day that changed my life forever. When Andy Reid called me to say I would be drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, I fulfilled a lifelong dream by making it to the NFL. But what I didn't know at the time was how much of an honor and privilege it would be to represent the city of Philadelphia and the Eagles organization for the next 12 years. He also mentions BG, Kelsey, and Lane and says, you guys will always have a special place in my heart. Mentions Trent Cole and says, I'm so thankful for you taking me under your wing in my first year. I can only hope I was able to have the same kind of impact on others that you had on me. It's just so, like, this is like the tough part about being a sports fan is seeing like these legends of your franchise hang it up. And what we all as Eagles fans and as Philly sports fans, as we see other teams has happened to, obviously we went through it with the Phillies, with Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard and that entire core. But like what we have to realize, especially with this core four, we got the privilege to watch their entire career unfold here. Yeah. And that's what's been the coolest part about those four guys in particular. And Brandon Graham, I'll touch on him later because obviously he just re-signed for year 15. But that's the cool part about these four guys with Kelsey, with BG, with Lane, and Fletcher Cox is those guys are not going to put on another uniform in their entire careers. And that's special.
It is. It's really special for any player to spend an entirety of career with the team. But what I take away from it is it's how hard it is to deal with it. You know, I mean, it's my experience with like not only Brady, but I would say like Poppy, Manny are the big two, is that it's a realization that change, like you have to change and move forward and stuff. And that's something that just everyone
it sucks.
With. It sucks. It's the worst feeling. Like I experience firsthand experience. I know it does, but because you hang on that nostalgia and how they made you feel and all that. And there's the worry about like, all right, well, the Eagles, you know, all the news going on right now and blah, blah, blah. This person says this thing. WPI is like public enemy number one. And this is what they're saying about us, you know, and it's like, how can you move on? But you do. I mean, look at guys that came before the Super Bowl champs. They came and moved on, but it ultimately led you to the Super Bowl. So change is a good thing.
There's been very few players in my lifetime with the Eagles that I have felt like a heavy weight on my chest when they've retired or left or both. It's been Brian Dawkins, obviously. Brent Selleck was one of those guys.
I love Brent Selleck.
Malcolm Jenkins was one of those guys. And now, obviously, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham inevitably will be one of those. And now Fletcher Cox and Zach Ertz. Those have been the guys that it's like, fuck, man. Like, those are like icons of the franchise. And it doesn't get easier. Change is coming to this team. You know, I was like holding back tears watching the 3-minute video that the Eagles put out today. That was laced in with locker room conversation of Fletcher Cox addressing the team after the playoff game against Tampa Bay this year, saying that this was it for him, and I was like, damn, like the whole team has known since January that this was coming. Fletch is I'm gonna miss his sack celebration of him crawling on the field and dropping the we went from having I saw a tweet, I think my friend Katie posted this. We went from having blunt and long cocks to no blunts and no long cocks.
It's a sad time when you got no blunts and no long cocks. It's a sad day.
It's tough.
In any area.
Like that picture of Chris Long and Fletcher Cox standing next to each other in the regular season a few years ago, and it just says Long Cox, is all time. And when Fletch did the video on the preseason game saying nothing better than Long Cox, like he just got it. And like he's a dog. He if he came back this year, he would have played at a high level again. Like, and I think that's one of the crazy parts about Kelsey and Fletch hanging it up is like, if those guys wanted to keep playing, they could have played at an elite all pro caliber level.
Really?
And I think Fletcher Cox, like, for a lot of his career, has been criminally like underrated for how good he is.
That I'd agree with. That I will agree with. Very criminally underrated.
I'm gonna pull up his career
playing
stats.
at elite level currently. I don't know if I could agree with that, but
I mean, for like how they were using him, like
fair,
very like dominant and like playing at a very high level. Like last year, Fletch played in 15 games, had 5 sacks.
That's
as a
pretty
rotational
good.
Piece. Like
that's still pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah.
I want to pull up his career stats here because we talked about this a little bit last time, and I've seen a lot more people talking about it, and I was like, maybe I'm not crazy. I think there's a real case for Fletcher Cox to be a Hall of Famer.
Really?
I think so. Looking at his career stats here, there were
that's a bold
played in a shit ton of games in his career.
That's definitely
a
detail.
2012 played in 15 of 16, started 9 of 15 his rookie year. Played all 16 games in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. 4 straight years of playing all 16 games. Missed 2 games in 2017, but started all 14 games that he played in, obviously. Played all 16 in 2018, played all 16 in 2019, played in 15 of 16 games in 2020, played 16 games in 2021, 17 games in 2022, and 15 games in 2023. There was never a season where he missed more than 2
That's
games.
insane. That's a
as
wild
a D tackle. Like,
yeah, that's insane. All right, you're intriguing me now.
3 career touchdowns as a D tackle.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Let's see here. 14 fumbles recovered in his career.
Okay. That's pretty good.
70 career sacks.
See, I'm not like that's good to me, but like how does that compare? Like I think that's insane, but
for a D tackle, I think that's a lot. Especially in a 4-3 defense most of his career. It's not like he was playing nose tackle.
That's true.
His most sacks came in 2018 when he had 10.5. 519 combined tackles. 351 of them were solo. 168 were assisted. 88 tackles for loss. 173 QB hits. And
pretty good.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-time Pro Bowler.
Okay.
AP All-Pro second team 3 times, first team once. Super Bowl champion. I think there's
that's the biggest thing is it's Super Bowl champion.
There's a legit case. He played in 188 games in his career, started 182 of them. The only games he did not start in were his rookie year, when he only started in 9 of 15. Like that's a damn good career.
That's a damn good career.
That's a damn good career. Elite defensive tackle number 2, 91. Elite.
That's an elite number 2.
I tweeted about this too. Because obviously Fletcher Cox, my guy. And in 2015, this is why you meet your internet friends.
Always meet your internet friends.
Oh, I am a big proponent of meet your internet friends.
High five.
Because one of them has become lifelong friend of mine and will always be. She's like family. In 2015 was when myself and my good pal, my good friend, lifelong friend, Victoria Cox, and I followed each other on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like stemming from like me being in college and like going into her senior year, I would go to the football games, and for my photojournalism class, I was shooting the football games and the cheerleaders and stuff for my portfolio. And as soon as like we started texting, I was like, oh, her last name is Cox. So in my phone to this day, her contact name is Victoria quotation marks Fletcher Cox.
Nice.
To this day. And that has been like a foundational piece of our friendship, is like our unanimous love for Fletcher Cox. She jokingly always says that Fletcher Cox is her dad, which is hilarious.
I mean, like almost.
And I mean, Vicky is the reason that I work at Buna. That friendship has spurned that, and like, you know, it's wild that like an athlete can connect people like that, but Fletcher Cox did that for me and gave me a lifelong friend that to this day is like my ride or die, and her fiance is like my dude. And it's wild that like friendships get that way, is like you go from friend and you meet people and then they get engaged, and it's wild like to see just like a journey like that. But like Vic and I have been friends. 2025 will be like 10 years. All because of Fletcher Cox.
That's wild.
So shout out to Fletcher Cox for dishing out an elite and Hall of Fame friendship for your boy.
See, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Just meeting new people, making new friends.
But man, I'm gonna miss Fletcher Cox a lot. Like he was like a core locker room guy too, and like just was not afraid to hold back when the media did some dumb shit.
See, that's an OG.
And he is going to thrive in whatever he does next. I know he was making appearances on PHLY's Eagles podcast. So like if he goes into media, if he does his own thing, like it won't shock me in the slightest how well he thrives. Hey Fletch, if you need a media company to invest in, we're right here, big dog. We'll do the Fletcher Cox podcast right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia.
I'll produce. I'll be your Robin to Batman. Whatever you need.
Like you're my guy, and I'm gonna miss seeing him on the field because he's an absolute dog, and I hope he stays intertwined with the community, which I'm sure he will. He's the best, and congratulations on a Hall of Fame-esque career, Fletch.
Congrats.
Speaking of other Eagles legends, Brandon Graham signed that dotted line, and he is back for year 15, Pitsy.
That's insane. All right, that's insane to me that Kelsey retires, Cox retires, and now you have Brandon Graham. It's like, nah, sign me up for one more. I could do it.
Brandon
that's
Graham
wild to me, dude.
Has said 15 years was always his goal in the NFL. He's going to do it all in one uniform. And Brandon Graham, my good pal Mike K, who covers the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer, I want to say. I apologize, Mike, if that's not your publication. But he covers the Panthers. Used to cover the Eagles for NJ.com. So that's how I connected with him. But he said, like, Brandon Graham's career is truly like Disney movie script. Like, gets drafted first round, undersized, kind of like tweener defensive end linebacker coming out of Michigan, and Philadelphia immediately hates the pick because it wasn't a safety to replace Brian Dawkins. Real ones remember that Brandon Graham year one also wore number 54, so people had gripes with that because that was Jeremiah Trotter's number. Switches
so weird for him to wear.
Switches to 55 a year later and goes through a couple years of Andy Reid, still trying to find his footing, goes through the Chip Kelly era. You're not sure if he's going to make it because the Eagles switched to a 3-4 defense. He's kind of a stand-up linebacker, D-end, edge rusher, and it's not really clicking. Is he going to survive? New coach comes in, Dougie P. Jim Schwartz comes in, defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz got so much out of Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox in their primes that it like reinvigorated both of their careers, in my opinion. Like
Easily.
Watching with Brandon Graham, and then obviously 2017 happens. BG is cult hero in Philadelphia for strip sacking Tom Brady, and then the Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl, and then Brandon Graham like is beloved by, and like for the longest time, Brandon Graham on Twitter went on this blocking spree, and it was like you were lucky if you weren't blocked by Brandon Graham. And then the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and he sits down with Jimmy Kempski from Philly Voice, and they unblock everyone.
That's incredible.
They unblock everyone on the list, and funnily enough, somehow some of the unblockings turned into Brandon Graham following people as well. So it's like people were getting followed by Brandon Graham, like out of the blue.
That's nice.
And then BG just becomes beloved. And then, you know, he's doing post-game interviews with Derek Gunn when he worked at NBC Sports Philly. And, like, he's just cracking jokes. There's a famous one of a guy walking by after the Eagles beat the Giants, and this guy's wearing a Cowboys jacket of all things. And Brandon Graham's just like, ha, you feeling good right now, aren't you? Aren't you? He's live on TV. Like,
oh, that's a dog.
And that's you look at Brandon Graham now, and it's like he is a franchise legend. Like, when you think Philadelphia Eagles all time, Brandon Graham is mentioned in that pantheon. And it's crazy to just watch how his career has unfolded. The fact that he's going to play 15 seasons in the NFL, all with the Philadelphia Eagles, after how his career started to where it is now. It is truly a Disney movie.
It sounds it. You're making a valid point here. As someone who just came from the movies, I'm seeing A, B, C, and that whole thing. And yeah, from what you described, I'm for it. I'd watch the shit out of that movie.
Like, BG is
Netflix special,
and he's just so like fun too, and he's an easy like person to root for because he is so charismatic and he's so like open to everybody, and it's just so much fun rooting for. And like, you watch mic'd up videos that the Eagles put out whenever it's Brandon Graham, you know you're in for a treat because he is the biggest shit talker on the field, to where Fletcher Cox and other players on the Eagles defense have had to tell Brandon Graham, yo, you got to calm down. You got to calm down.
That's the case. Yeah.
Like, there was a video that surfaced that I had never seen before this week when it was announced that BG was resigning, and you hear a fan yell, man, y'all suck. Y'all barely beat the Colts. And BG just laughs. He's like, ha ha. He said we barely beat the Colts. But we about to go whoop that ass, though. Like, he's the best. And I'm so happy he's going to be back for another season to go on this, you know, farewell tour and finish out his career strong and wear an Eagles uniform for 15 seasons.
That's insane. Congrats to him for doing it. Like,
love it.
Do you think this is it, though? This is the...
He said that this is it. Like, this is the final year. Because 15 years was always like the check mark that he wanted to reach.
That's a good goal to achieve. That's a very good goal to achieve.
And I do like the justification he said. He said Ray Lewis was always a player he looked up to on the field.
I'm happy you clarified.
That's what he said. Because Ray Lewis played 17 seasons, obviously, all with the Ravens, and it's cool to see guys play an entire career in one uniform. And we're getting that with the Eagles. We're getting that with Aaron Nola with the Phillies, which is really awesome.
There's no loyalty anymore, Kyle.
It's crazy.
There's no loyalty.
Well, there is loyalty when you find a team. Like, look at Zach
Right.
Wheeler.
Dude, a man who won 6 championships for his team left. There's no loyalty. All right, leaving me to pick up the pieces.
Maybe Robert Kraft's son.
No, they should legitimately be listening to me at this point. Did you see the report that came out today?
No.
That Belichick wanted to trade Mac Jones for Baker Mayfield and would have got a second round pick out of it. And they would have done it too, because Mac was better than Baker at that point. Oh, what happened? Oh, why does that relate to me at all, Kyle? Well, I'll fucking tell you. Because what do? Make the same exact trade in Madden with the militia. What happens? Baker Mayfield, Super Bowl champion. I'm just saying I know things.
Well, apparently some other people know some things. Last bit of Eagles news before we shift to underground madness. Allegedly, when free agency opens this week for the NFL, which what day is that?
I think tomorrow.
Is it Monday? Yeah, no. Start. Let's see. March 13th at 4 p.m. The legal tampering period begins on March 11th at noon. So we'll start seeing leaks of guys going. But allegedly, according to multiple reports, Saquon Barkley is going to be an Eagle.
What nonsense are you speaking? What?
I don't get it. I don't know why, but
what?
Allegedly, according to multiple reports, I'm taking them with a massive grain of salt.
Massive.
But allegedly, Saquon is going to be an Eagle.
Okay. I don't think that. I mean, to be honest, like, I say that now, but out of nowhere, I'll get a notification on my phone that happened, and I'll be like, oh, all right, well, they did it because you guys actually are aggressive when it comes to free agents, and my team isn't. So I would expect nothing less. Kyle, I would expect nothing less.
I don't understand it because, like, DeAndre Swift is right there, and I thought DeAndre Swift was phenomenal for the Eagles this year.
Isn't he still? No, he's a free agent, right?
He's a free agent.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to re-sign him for a cheaper deal?
I would.
I feel like he'd be cheaper than Saquon.
And he's a hometown kid.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, the biggest issue with me with Saquon Barkley, if he is to become an Eagle, is just his health and staying healthy. I don't. Apparently, the deal is not going to be lucrative, from what I have seen. Like, it's not going to be like this, like, hindering contract. Mm-hmm. But like, Saquon has to stay healthy to be effective. And I know that sounds dumb because any player has to stay healthy to be effective. But like, we've seen Jason Kelce play with like torn ligaments and like everything, and been in an all-world center at one of, if not the most grueling position in football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Saquon Barkley has to stay healthy in order to be an effective player, and he just hasn't been able to do that over the past few years in his career. Mm-hmm. I'm pulling it up here with just his stats of how many games he's played over the past couple of years and how many games he's missed. But like, Tiki Barber was like having an aneurysm on New York radio about Saquon allegedly signing with the Eagles when free agency opens, and that was funny to me. That was very funny to me.
I don't like Rondé Barber or Tiki. What would you say? I don't like that.
It was Tiki.
I hate Tiki.
He's very annoying.
I don't like Tiki. Rondé's not bad. I don't mind.
No, Rondé has gave me my first childhood nightmare of 2002 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, all right. Well, that's personal. Okay, I just don't.
Like, Saquon in his career has played 16 games in a season twice. His rookie year and 2022.
I wouldn't give that man a lot of money because of that. Like,
played 14 games this year, rushed for 962 yards, Caught, let's see, how many receiving yards? Yeah, 280 yards receiving, so 1,000 yards combined. Over 1,000 yards combined this year. He's had 3,000-yard rushing seasons in his career. Has only had double-digit touchdowns twice.
Yeah.
Like,
he's not someone you spend the money for, but like the potential, like if I'm a team like the Eagles, I wouldn't put my money in that direction because of the uncertainty and where your team is. I would rather another team that needs a star like that to throw the money
like
at.
Saquon has not been elite since his rookie year.
He's been, yeah, that's
like that was his one elite year. He had over 2,000 scrimmage yards. He had 15 total touchdowns. Yes. And he was the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Since then, 2022, 2023, he had 10 total touchdowns both of those years. He had 1,242 all-purpose yards in 2023, 1,650 in 2022, and 1,441 in 2019. I just don't see the overall appeal. And I think, do I think Saquon is a good player? Yes.
Yeah, that's not what we're
There's
arguing.
a lot of like caveats to him, and number one is his health. And
1,000% his health. That's literally what we're arguing here. Nothing to do with his.
Like I get he's 26. He'll be 27 when the season begins. I think.
Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah, he turned 27 in February. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's interesting. I know he's also from Pennsylvania. Like he's went to Whitehall,
relatively hometown.
So, like I get that, but I don't know. It's one of those things that like former division rival players, I'm not a fan of signing because 90% of the time it never works out for the Eagles.
Yeah, you guys haven't had the best history with signing veterans like that.
Like we had one good year of James Bradbury, and then look what happened this year.
Yeah, and that was.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of Saquon and those rumors, but we'll see what happens. But we are going to shift to our Underground Madness Volume 2 segment with myself and Stevie Mac. Don't go anywhere. Stick around for the madness, and we'll be right back. We good. I thought you had an intro.
What do I have an intro? I'm the analyst.
I don't know. You said before we started recording that you had an intro, and you were so excited.
Oh, yeah.
I was giving you the floor.
When I said that, I meant you enter me in.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I segue to what I'm going to say, which will basically make you laugh your ass off.
Well, that's the hard open now for the entire podcast, so.
Shit.
But anywho, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to our Underground Madness segment here on this next installment of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's Underground Madness Volume 2 of 2024. If you have not already, join our bracket challenge. It is linked in the description. We want as many people involved in Underground Madness 2024 as possible. Join the bracket challenge. It is linked in the description. Let us know that you're in. You're going to be competing against myself, Pat Pitts, DJ, Matt, Dom, Christian, Casey, Owen, everybody from our company, every big-time fan of our company, probably CFO Margie as well. And let's not forget the guy that's to my right, Mr. Steven Mac.
It's great to be here. You know, I'm actively, and we'll talk about this in a minute. So my fiance went to Stony Brook University. There, of course, in the what I thought for a long time was the Colonial. It was the Colonial. It's now the Coastal because they shook everything up. Double OT against Philadelphia's own Drexel Dragons. Just made the layup and won 91-88. 18 seconds left in double OT. Well, Drexel just took a time out with 8 seconds left. Gonna need a 3 to go to triple OT. and will have big time implications in the CAA. But we'll get into that.
We'll
Basically,
have big time implications here because Christian works for Drexel's student department.
Well, there you go. So Christian's probably going crazy. I'm going crazy, and fellow Stony Brook alumni Stu Feiner is going as crazy as this. So that's Stu Feiner getting his mulch. I'm basically yelling, "Madness is here!"
I'm gonna need you to recreate that video of Stu Feiner shout out legend, but just doing madness here. I'm gonna need you to recreate that exact video.
The only person who's allowed to do that and make it work is Pat Betts. The only one.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I have the craziness gene in me to be able to just like openly do that. Also, like,
we have a video from Pat Pitts that's coming out hopefully this week that may make you piss your pants to an infinite degree.
I'm looking forward to it. By the way, Stony Brook just took out Drexel, so Stony Brook will be moving on to the semifinal of the Colonial Athletic Association conference tournament. So I think that's kind of a good segue into where we're kind of going here. So after a week of conference tournament madness, we already have plenty to go around. I wanted to start with a quick wrap up of what's happened so far this week, and then we can get into the more detailed stuff. So first of all, we had a great week in terms of my picks, my selections that I told you guys about that I was so intrigued by. Morehead State ran away with the OVC, just absolutely demolished everyone. They'll be a 12 seed. They will make noise in this tournament. They will be a team that you're going to want to look at when you're looking at a 5 and a 12. They fall with 13, a 13 and a 4. A team that you want to look out for. Morehead State ran away with the OVC. The Big South, UNC Asheville bent me over to today and crushed my dreams. Longwood beat them by 27 points in the Big South final. So Asheville out. Drew Pember couldn't make it happen. Longwood in, I believe, their second tournament in 3 years. Out of the ASUN, of course, Stetson, the Hatters. When we had recorded shortly after that happened, I believe, Lipscomb and I'm drawing a blank on Eastern Washington. Washington, no. Eastern Kentucky? Yeah. Got bounced out of the tournament. And Stetson, I was like, all right, it's Stetson, North Florida, and Austin P. What happens? Austin P and Stetson match up. Stetson takes it home. And it just happened about an hour ago that out of the MVC, Indiana State and Drake, probably the biggest implication of them all. I had said that there's a chance we have a two-bid conference out of the MVC for the first time ever, with the understanding that Drake would have to beat Indiana State, the number 1 seed. It very much happened. So now we're at kind of a crossroads here, and I want to, and again, we'll talk more about this on the later on in the segment here, but Indiana State losing is a bigger deal than most people think because A, Drake's now a bid stealer. B, the question is that while Indiana State is a net top 30 team, their quad 1 wins are all awful. They haven't necessarily beaten the best teams, and now they're looking at a possibility of having to play a play-in game in order to get into the tournament because of the fact that those wins are not as good, and they're going up against teams like A&M, Villanova, Colorado, Mississippi State, these Power 5 teams that are also on bubble watch. So Indiana State might get in, they might not. I think they should. My gut's saying they should, but we'll have to see how that one goes. And then a couple of
so
other
what
things.
You're saying is Drake stole their whole fucking flow, word for word, bar for bar.
Basically, a great philosopher named Aubrey Graham once said, started from the bottom, now we're here. Drake literally went from the bottom, and now they are here. Was one of the laughing stocks of the MVC for like 20 years when they first joined. Now, over the last 4 years, have been absolutely incredible. Drake will be another sleeper team that I'll be interested in. Last year, they played Miami, got a bad draw on the 12-5. But they will most certainly be in probably like an 11 to 13, wherever that range is. Should make a decent amount of noise.
We also had the Patriots semifinal. Toothpaste does it again,
as always. Well, so the what else is occurring over the past week that's now kind of wrapping up here as well. The Patriot, of course, we chose the Colgate toothpaste company that basically run away with it. The 1 seed there. Number 6, Lehigh, another Philadelphia-based school, I believe, right? Lehigh?
Yep.
So shout out to the Philly boys. Lehigh upset BU. They were the number 2 seed. Colgate beat Bucknell. Again, another Philadelphia or Pennsylvania-based school. So beat out Bucknell. We'll have Lehigh Colgate on the 13th for the final. Again, should run away with Colgate. The SoCon, we picked Samford to get out of there. They just beat Furman today. And then Eastern Tennessee and Chattanooga currently playing. Chattanooga, I think, up by like 5 right now. Middle of the second half. As of this recording, 8:30 on a Sunday. Their final will be tomorrow. So again, we're gonna ride Samford there. We'll see what happens. But Chattanooga's no slouch. The Sun Belt, we had JMU and App State in the final. The final's gonna be tomorrow. Arkansas State upsets App State at the buzzer, 67-65. Absolute madness, because App State was one of those schools that, had they made the tournament, again, would have been one of those like middle round 13 seed, 12 seed teams that would have very much had a lot of noise. And then JMU is playing Texas State tonight. They should get, again, in handily, they're like a 12.5 point favorite. So I'm expecting JMU to run away with the final as well. But again, if they can upset App State and Arkansas State, that should be a game itself. The WCC, no surprise to anybody. They're playing tonight. Gonzaga, San Francisco, St. Mary, Santa Clara should very well be the Zags versus the Gales once again for the umpteenth time in the last 10 years. And then the Horizon tomorrow, Oakland and Cleveland State. Our boys over at Youngstown got bounced out in the first round by Cleveland State. So that'll be probably the matchup that everyone's looking for. Can Cleveland State beat the top 2 seeds and move on to the final and get back in to the dance for, I believe that they made it last year or 2 years ago. And then Milwaukee and Northern Kentucky, we'll see who can come out of that one. But that's kind of how things currently shape up. That's basically the week in summation. And now I'm very excited to move on to the following week, which is really the week that everyone has their eyes on. It's the conferences that are more known. And then on top of that, it's of course, the Power 5, which we'll get a really good picture of the tournament as we go on over the next couple of days.
Just bummed that Furman got bounced, because they hands down have a top elite tier mascot that is so underutilized. And I'm
Paladins?
glad it's so good. It's so good.
It is pretty cool. Well, whenever I think of Paladins, I think of Fallout and the Brotherhood of Steel.
I think of
For
Yu-Gi-Oh.
those gamers. Think of who?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I haven't watched a Yu-Gi-Oh clip in I can't tell you how long. Although for some reason it's popping up on my like Facebook feed. It's like Pawn Stars, Yu-Gi-Oh, and like Pokemon.
Well, there's the one that's always famous on Twitter. It should have been me, not him.
Yes, yeah, of course.
That's Furman this week.
Well, hey, look, Furman had their spot in the sun when last year they won at the buzzer. When again I had called that the 13th seed Furman Paladins. Forget who they took out though that game. I believe it was the team in black. Could be wrong, but
I'll look that up.
Yeah, we'll have to find that one. Trying to think what else. Nothing else occurred in the past week, at least, has been super vital. But really, the big story again is that Indiana State Drake set up. So we'll see if they wind up getting a 2-bid, and then that'll segue more into seeing who's going to be on that bubble watch as we get closer to the following week.
They beat Virginia.
You're right. That was UVA. They were wearing black. That's what I forget. The Paladins, baby. We love that. UVA can never get it done in tournament play ever.
No. I mean, there's some rumors swirling around about Tony Bennett after the season. So
Tony Bennett, the singer, is better than Tony Bennett, the coach.
I mean, whoever's making a debate about that needs to be evaluated for multiple head injuries.
Wood chipper, feet first.
The quarterfinal of the first round for the Colonial, the Southland, the Summit, and the Big Sky.
Yeah. So so now as we segue into the basically the rundown of the next week, we kind of start with those mid majors, and while we're all like this is the flex period. So we had the first week, the flex, and then the second week starting up tomorrow. The Colonial is again saw Stony Brook just upset Drexel. They'll move on to the semifinal, the 7 seed Stony Brook Seawolves, whatever a Seawolf is, took out the number 2 Drexel Dragons. They're going to take the team who I want to win this conference, who actually are located just 20 minutes out of me, the Hofstra Pride, the number 3 seed. They've taken out some big time darlings in this tournament. High Point being one of them, USF, another out of the American. They split with Drexel, so now they don't even have to worry about playing them. They lost twice to Charleston, which everyone's very bullish on. But I like Hofstra as they have multiple guys who can drop upwards of 45 points a night. Again, COC beat them twice. If you remember from last week, it's very challenging to beat a team 3 times in a row in tournament play in particular. So I love Hofstra out of the Colonial, and they'll most certainly find themselves in a 14-15 land, most likely. The Southland Conference, the semis begin tomorrow. This is the easiest one, in my opinion, amongst the leagues that are happening this week and during the flex week. It's McNeese State over everybody else. They'll be a 13 seed in the tournament. They will be a popular sleeper team that everyone's going to want to bet on. The only teams that might make a pretty decent run is going to be A&M Corpus Christi. They made the dance 22 and 23 under Coach Steve Lutz. He ended up going to Western Kentucky this year. Jim Shaw, his assistant, took over. Hasn't disappointed. They're the number 2 team in the conference there, but it's easily Corpus Christi, the Islanders, or McNeese State there. The Summit League is the other one who begins tomorrow with the semifinals. The Jackrabbits of South Dakota State are easily the guys that you want to be following with. North Dakota falls shortly behind. Denver's another team who could give a run. But the Jackrabbits have won the regular season title 4 of the last 5 years, including this year. They have tournament pedigree. Eric Henderson made the dance in 2022. They very easily have a chance to make a run, at least for the dance. Won't go very far at that. And then finally, the Big Sky, which is the final flex conference, which actually right now, Eastern Washington, the 1 seed, who I think very well might have it wrapped up, is currently losing to Sacramento State at the end of, middle of the second half. So very well could see a situation where Sacramento State upsets the 1 seed. Then I'd go to Montana, the 2 seed, to run away with it. The only dark horse here would be Weber State. They're the 4 seed. There's 4 teams here with 19 wins or more. The 4th team of which being Weber State. I do think it's a pretty wide open field, but Montana, Weber, and Eastern Washington, if they can get out of this game against Sacramento, all have a legitimate shot.
And before we keep it pushing, Stevie Mac, our tournament breakdowns and underground madness brought to you in part by our friends over at Dead Threads. Guys, let me tell you, it's some of the coolest designs out there. And they got a bunch of college teams, bunch of pro teams, and some of the coolest designs on shirts and crew neck sweatshirts in the game. And it's all created by an awesome artist just known as Amelia, who is the creative mind behind the exclusive and trend-setting t-shirt designs you'll find at Dead Threads. She's not just a t-shirt designer, she's an artist with a passion for turning sports legends and celebrity icons into wearable art. From the courtside to the red carpet, Amelia's journey has been a blend of admiration and inspiration. As a devoted fan of both sports and entertainment, she found her muse in the powerful personas and magnetic energies of these icons, and this journey has led her to create a collection that pays homage to the figures who have shaped pop culture and sports history. Each t-shirt that is created by Dead Threads is a tribute to the legends that have left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds, from sports icons who redefine the game to celebrities who have captured their imaginations. Her designs are a fusion of creativity and reverence with a mix of intricate illustrations, striking graphics, and a dash of street edge. And she transforms these icons into art that you can wear. In a world where trends come and go, Amelia's designs are designed to be timeless. And when you choose a Dead Thread creation, you're not just adding a t-shirt or sweatshirt to your collection. You're making a statement that's uniquely yours. So embrace the fusion of art, fashion, and celebrity culture. Let's celebrate the icons that inspire us and redefine streetwear together, one t-shirt at a time. Click the link in the description or go to deadthreads.shop and you'll get 15% off your order from our friends at Dead Threads. That's deadthreads.shop, or click the link in the description and you'll get 15% off with code UNDERGROUND from our friends at Dead Threads.
As I actively try and bet Hofstra futures to win this, to win the CAA. One final thing I want to point out there too. So the fact that Drexel dropped in double OT to Stony Brook not only gives Hofstra a really good opportunity to capitalize on a worse seed, but this is the one conference that you're playing the quarterfinal on the 9th. Sorry, the quarterfinal on the 10th, semifinal on the 11th, final on the 12th. So Stony Brook's is going to turn around in 24 hours after playing 70 minutes of basketball, actually 80 minutes of basketball, and have to go up against a fully fresh Hofstra team that wasn't played in 3 days. So if you're looking for a Hofstra play, I know those of you in New York can't bet on New York teams. Very dumb rule.
So stupid. It's the same thing with New Jersey. I can't bet on New Jersey teams.
So unfortunately, you cannot do that. But if you do have the ability to play that, you are more than welcome to do that. Transitioning though into now the following week, this is really where things get interesting because you're going to see a lot of the at-large bids come into play. There are, of course, the one bid conferences that are still very much playing this week. I like to call it the week of the ACK because it's basically all of the abbreviated teams that that people know about to a degree and have some relatively notable teams that you probably heard of in the past, but all the what's the word I'm looking for? Abbreviations. Yes, the abbreviations are always the fun one. So whatever you got for me, ask away. Let's fire away, and I'll give you everything I can, and hopefully the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. So for the return of the ACK, if you will, it's the MAC, SWAC, MEAC, and the WAC.
By the way, the MAC is better than the MAC. I'm not saying that because I'm an alumni of a MAC school. No, MAC. It's like a fucking sheep. Yeah, MAC. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyways, all right. So we'll start off with the non-abbreviations. So the American East, it's basically Vermont's to lose. UVM has been one of the best teams in the country for a long time in terms of out of the northeastern New England area. Lowell and Bryant are there. But I don't think Doug Edwards, Bryant Bulldogs are going to put up a huge fight. The Catamounts should very well make the tournament. They'll be a 13 seed.
Suits all over our TVs.
It's going to literally be suits everywhere. Out of the Big West, basically it's Cal Irvine or bust. They are not just smart guys; they're also really freaking good at basketball. They haven't made the dance very often, but they constantly win the regular season title. This year, I think, is going to be easily the year. They are by far the best team out of the Big West. The Conference USA, it's Sam Houston and LA Tech. Sam Houston's 2-0 against LA Tech, or La Tech, has lost by 4 and 6 points, respectively. I think that LA Tech's going to wind up taking this one, and Louisiana will move on there. Now, from here, we have the abbreviations, and I'll just kind of run them in order. So the MAC, we have, of course, our MACtion. There are 3 teams who make sense here: Toledo, Akron, and Ohio. Ohio, of course, made it 2 years ago and did make a first-round run. But it's really Akron and Toledo, and it's a story of two sides of the ball. Toledo's fast. They aren't the Rockets for any reason. But the Akron Zips, they should not be called the Zips. They should be called the slow and punctual. They're one of the slowest teams in the country. They don't do anything fast whatsoever. Akron wants to slow you down. They want to not turn the ball over. They want to literally hold the ball till the last freaking second. As John Rothstein says, it's like getting a root canal with no Novocaine. It's just slow and boring and methodical. But then Ohio, of course, the dark horse out of the conference too, has a chance. The SWAC, it's basically Grambling State or Southern. They've been battling all year back and forth. Whoever wins this will get the play-in at the 16th seed to determine where they'll go from there, as well as the MEAC. It's basically Norfolk State, who basically runs house here. They'll also make the bubble and will play either Grambling or Southern out of that. And then, of course, the WAC, we have either Grand Canyon or Tarleton, one of the best names in college hoops. I think the Antelopes out of Grand Canyon will take this one.
Underrated mascot.
Very underrated. It's like the Antelopes, the Banana Slugs, and then the unofficial mascot of Dartmouth is Keggy the Keg, which is amazing.
I think this tournament season we have to come up with a graphic with the 4 of us from the video and do our top 10 mascots for the teams that make the tournament.
There's one. The University of the best mascot though, or the best name, is the University of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. It's perfect.
Yes,
in every way. Finally, the only other one-bid conference to discuss here is my friends over at the MAC. Probably the MAC, the best conference amongst the one-bidders, probably amongst this week. And I'm not saying that because my Quinnipiac Bobcats are the 1 seed and very well could earned their first ever national title run under first-year coach Tom Pecora, who used to coach at Fordham in the A10. But it's basically a 4-horse race between the top 4 seeds. It's the Bobcats, the Fairfield Stags, the St. Peter's Peacocks, who you very well remember who they are, and the Marist Red Foxes, who very well could make a run. These top 4 teams, but there's always someone who comes out of the woodwork. In the past, it's been Manhattan. When Rick Pitino coached Iona, they were always the top dog, but Siena was always a team to look out for. The Rider Bronx always managed to make some sort of a run, even though they always finish bottom of the table. So it's basically a wide open race. I'm going to take the Bobcats to win it all solely on bias. If anybody else wins, though, St. Peter's has been really hot. They've won 7 of their last 8. The only game that they've lost in that stretch has come to the Bobcats. Otherwise, they've beaten every other conference opponent at least once.
Speaking of, not that we want to deter anyone from turning off this podcast, so finish this podcast before you're done, but Rick Pitino is going to be on Part of My Take by the time you're listening to this.
Pitino's a incredible watch. Well, I went to the MAC tournament at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. I went during the COVID year, so there's nobody in the crowd at all. It's friends and family, and then it's me sitting at a booth courtside, and I'll never forget this. Iona's playing Siena, and I just went because Quinnipiac lost in the first round. I did the interviews and everything with the head coach, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch Pitino in action. I stayed for an entire weekend. There's nobody who sweats more and yells louder than Rick Pitino courtside on the floor. There was one kid, Dylan Van Eck, who I don't know where he is now. He's probably doing finance on Wall Street. Missed like 5 straight shots in the field. He goes, Dylan, get the fuck off my court. And there's no one in the crowd. So you hear it loud as day in this giant fucking place. And it's just, Dylan. And then 5 minutes later, someone else misses a shot. He goes, Dylan, get on. Pitino's a freaking nut job. It also doesn't help that he told half his team that they all suck. From here, though, the big story, and I'll try and wrap this up in the next 5 minutes, come from the Power 5 as well as the A10, plus the other affiliated conferences like the Mountain West, the ACC, the Pac-12, the Ivy also kind of fits into here as well in the American, where you're going to have multiple bids from a lot of these conferences. And I'll start with the A10 because it's probably the most compelling of the bunch. You want to talk about like bid stealers and what it means to get into the dance at a ridiculous level. First of all, you can look at the one bid conferences. You can look at the Stetsons and the Cleveland States who beat Youngstown, or like Drake, again, another prime example, stealing bids from teams who have been on the watch the entirety of the year. And for the most part now, it's kind of at a premium because the NIT is no guarantee that you finish top 3 in the conference, you make the NIT. That's now an invitational, and there isn't a chance that you get there. So with that being said, a conference like the A10 is really interesting because Dayton, while ranked, they are going to get an at-large bid. They're going to be about a 10 seed or possibly even lower, maybe an 8 or 9. And then it's basically the field. It's Richmond, it's Loyola Chicago, VCU, UMass. There's so many different teams that can make a run here. I want to highlight Richmond and Loyola Chicago, probably the 2 best teams that isn't named Dayton. Again, could very well be a bid stealer from one of those other 2 bid conferences, or possibly even a school like, let's say, the Big East that has St. John's in the hunt, Villanova in the hunt, Seton Hall is going to wind up making it. There are teams that are going to be on watch if a school like Richmond or Loyola Chicago make it, while Dayton gets an at-large. So things to look at there out of the A10. I want to drop and tease a bit of a fun interview that I'll be doing on Tuesday. That'll come out on the next episode. Ryan Hammer, you probably know him all over social media. He's basically been covering this sport up and down for years. Huge college basketball guy, follows all the metrics. Ken Palm, he has the trapezoid of excellence that basically determines to you every single conference winner and possible national title contender. I'll be interviewing him. We'll talk a lot more about the dance itself. We'll dig into the Power 5 schools and the bracket at large as we get closer and closer to those projections. But to kind of go one by one here really quick at these top conferences, starting with the Big 12, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 probably automatic qualifiers. Like half the conference is going to be able to get in. Starting off with the 1 seed Houston, Iowa State will get a 2. Kansas and Baylor probably get a 3 or a 4, followed by Texas Tech, BYU, TCU, Texas, Oklahoma. They'll all kind of fall in somewhere between that 4 and 10 area. Who will win? Probably Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, or Baylor. Those are always the top 4 every single year. But again, these are all going to get at-large bids. No one's really on the bubble to look at. Out of the Big East, it's UConn or bust. But UConn plays horrible against all top 25 ranked opponents when they're not playing in March. They've lost to Creighton already, who was highly ranked. They lost to Marquette. I believe on the road they were like, they're 0-21 in the Dan Hurley era, playing at these schools. Granted, I don't know the metric when it comes to playing a neutral site at Madison Square Garden, but UConn should have a very good edge here. Creighton very well could win. Marquette could also win. They are all going to be automatic qualifiers, in addition to Seton Hall. And then with that, on Bubble Watch, you have Providence, Villanova, St. John's, all trying to look and squeeze their way in. Very well could be a play-in team. Might get lucky depending on how bids get handed out. Out of the ACC, there's UNC, Duke, and Virginia. They'll all make it in. Wake Forest sitting on the bubble. Duke upset by UNC yesterday, and UNC will likely go into tournament play as the 1 seed there. Out of the Pac-12, Washington State, Arizona, and Oregon is on the bubble. Wazoo and Arizona are automatic qualifiers. Everyone else likely to be out. So again, if Oregon wins and automatically gets in, will end up being a bid stealer in that case. If Villanova wins in the Big East, let's just say, they could also be a big-time bid stealer, as well as you look at schools like maybe not like Oklahoma, but you go into the SEC where it gets even crazier. Bama, Tennessee, Auburn, South Carolina, they'll all automatically make it, in addition to Florida, Kentucky, and then you have like Mississippi State, who's on the bubble, who isn't in it yet, but if they can win against A&M, they have a shot. Also on the bubbles, Ole Miss, there's LSU, Georgia, Arkansas. All these teams are live to make it. But at the very least, Bama, Tennessee very well could be a top 4 seed in the tournament. Kentucky has been turning it around. They've been on an absolute heater. They beat Tennessee just the other day. They'll probably match up with them again come the conference semifinals. And again, we're looking at it this way. Mississippi State is the 10 seed out of the SEC. If they can make the semifinal, they will likely get into the dance. From there, you got to determine, all right, who's out at that point? Is it a Villanova? Is it a Colorado out of the Pac-12? Is it a school like St. John's? A lot of different schools to be discussed there. Finally, the Big Ten. It's basically Purdue's show. They will likely win it all. Automatic qualifiers from there: Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Northwestern, and Nebraska are again also on the bubble. Nebraska, in this case, would have to win in order to even come close to making it. So that's kind of where we stand. And from that, you can kind of deduce as we get closer and closer to the actual bracket being announced, who will still bids, who will get in, who will get out. It's very early to tell, but at the very least, from as of right now, we have a decent standing from what could happen.
Drop that promo for the people one more time. Our first Underground Madness guest.
Yeah, Ryan Hammer. Absolutely awesome guy. I talked to him over email and over the phone. He will, in fact, be on. I'll be interviewing him on Tuesday. He'll be out for the following episode, probably released on Thursday, Wednesday.
Thursday.
So Ryan Hammer will be on here. We'll be chatting college troops. We'll hopefully have him on again as well. Once we actually do get into tournament play, you can find him on social. Ryan Hammer 9. Again, awesome content all the way up and down. He interviews players. He travels the country. Also a New Jersey guy, so very well could have some really good talks with Ryan throughout the tournament. Still shooting to get John Roskian on the show. If it happens, the world will come together and we will have the ultimate play day.
And we're going to work to try to get as many guests on as possible throughout tournament season. Make sure you're following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board, Facebook.com/Underground Sports PHI. Stevie Mac, tell the people where to follow you.
Of course, at the real Steve McAvoy, because Twitter sucks. Sorry, X sucks. Customer support. I got hacked by a Chinese website, probably Temu, and they're just trying to hide it.
That's how they paid for their Super Bowl ads.
Basically, and then Instagram, Steven McAvoy _. You can find me there as well. And of course, a part of Underground Sports Philadelphia to get in the whole podcast. I am more than just a college basketball guy. I know golf as well. Shout out to Scotty Scheffler for winning the Arnold Palmer Invitational this past week. Follow us at Getting the Whole Pod. Me and Ben, great guy, really good stuff going on over there. So if you're interested in the world of golf, give us a follow.
And of course, our live stream for Selection Sunday going down. It's all on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. It'll be me, DJ, and two drunk idiots known as Steven McAvoy and Patty Pitts. We'll also have a schedule dropping once we conjure it up as a group of our watch-along games, which I'm very excited for, where we're going to be live streaming as like a companion stream for some of the games during the tournament. So stay tuned for that. And like Steve said, Ryan Hammer on Thursday's show. Very excited to have him join you. And the interview aficionado for Underground Madness, Steven McAvoy, everybody.
We're going to have a damn good time. And again, we're probably going to party like Stu Feiner. March is here.
Patty Pitts baseball season is on the horizon, and it is brought to you by our pals over at FOCO. The best for
Love FOCO.
We love FOCO at Underground Sports Philadelphia.
Dude, they gave me this gem. What are you talking about? Dude, I am your captain of all things nonsensical because of FOCO.
Captain Nonsense over here. FOCO is the best and leading deliverer of forever collectibles for your favorite sports teams, officially licensed gear from Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, National Basketball Association, the NFL, WWE, and your favorite entertainment of your childhood and adulthood. And of course, they also have you covered with pro soccer. They have you covered with your favorite college teams, the whole 9 yards. Click the link in the description. Last episode, we ordered our mini Jason Kelce bobblehead that will be here. It was a pre-order, so that'll be here later this year. Very excited to add that to the shelf back here, which will be very cool. But you can get your own by clicking the link in the description and support our pals at FOCO. They are the best in the game. Pitts, we had a little announcement from Blake Snell on his Instagram story today that our guy, hopefully future friend of the program, Jared Carabas, brought to light. Blake Snell posting the eye emojis on his Instagram story.
That's sus. That's some sus.
What do we make of it? Is he signing soon?
He signed it somewhere. You don't just put that if you don't plan on signing or making a move, or unless you want to just get the people riled up. But then again, there has to be an ulterior motive for you to get the people riled up. So,
like, it is March 10th as we record this, and the fact that Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery have not signed yet,
that's mind-boggling. Like, I don't know why. Like, what, like, why? You know what I mean? It's getting way too close to the season. You need to have some, like, I am a big advocate of spring training isn't like the end all be all, but it's a good practice round, loosen up, get the cobwebs off. But if you've been sitting there free agency, like, I know you've been training and shit, but wouldn't you rather be doing that with the team that you're going to be competing for a World Series with? Like, you know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah, we got a screenshot. I got a screenshot Blake Snell's Instagram story because people are using it as a meme template.
Oh, that's incredible. We got
It's
to
like,
do that.
oh, Blake Snell just posted this on his Instagram story. Yeah, we got to do that. And we're going to put in Blake Snell listening to Underground Sports Philadelphia is what we're going to do.
No, that's what he's doing, clearly.
I just I don't get why it's taking so long for these guys to sign. And like, I know in 2018, we as Phillies fans went through this with Jake Arrieta, and to a lesser degree, Jake Arrieta at that point is not what Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery are right now.
Mhm.
But it's like the season for the Dodgers and the Padres starts in 10 days.
Yeah.
The
Like,
South Korea series is in 10 days.
That's crazy. That's insane to think about. But like, it makes no sense to me, man. Like, they need to get acquainted with their team, and like,
The season for everyone starts in 18 days as we record this.
Yeah, but my thing is like, what are you holding out for at this point? Like, now you're doing yourself.
I
more
saw a
of disservice
post
than
about
other
Jordan
teams.
Montgomery, like saying that he's still seeking a 7-year deal. Buddy, it is March 10th. You're not getting a 7-year deal at this point in the offseason.
No, you're not.
Like,
You got to cut your
it's
losses.
not gonna happen.
You got to cut your losses, man. Like, I don't know what else you want, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Take the money, not the years.
I just don't understand how or why. And like, both guys are Boris guys, and I know Scott Boris is like the kingpin of baseball. But like, at this point, like, you got to get what you can get for these guys, and even if it's on a short-term deal, like, they got to sign with the team. And like, regardless of, like, obviously as a Phillies fan, I would love for either of these guys to sign here, but at this point, like, how long is it going to take for them to get ramped up? How long is it going to take for them to be ready for opening day, for when their turn in the rotation comes? Like, how much time are they going to have to miss in order to be ready for the season? Like, that's a true question that these teams who are pursuing both of these guys and willing to dish out contracts for them, and that Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery have to answer for themselves.
Like, I'm not even saying this as a Sox fan or even a Phillies supporter that I want one of these guys to sign with us, just, for fandom. Like, just sign at this point, because you're not going to help yourself out. Like, the season is vastly approaching. I do not understand the logic that you're doing. It makes no sense.
I wonder if there's like odds
There has to be.
of like who's the favorite still. When was this? So this was posted a week ago.
Okay.
I don't know where these odds come from. I guess it's from Sports Illustrated, bookies.com. So take that with a grain of salt.
Take that with what you
No
want.
free ads. A week ago, they had the latest odds as the Yankees at the top for Blake Snell with plus 150 odds. Following the Yankees was the Seattle Mariners at plus 400, the Angels at plus 550, San Francisco Giants at plus 600, and the Boston Red Sox at plus 1,000.
Yeah, Sox ain't doing shit. I'll tell you that right now. They're not doing shit.
I
don't know.
I don't know when they're gonna sell. Like, I think we need to like have like a countdown, like Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, three weeks.
Give it up for day 15.
Day 27.
Day like 227 at this point.
Yeah, actually, they might wait a whole year.
Like, is the season gonna start? That's the real question. Leave a comment in the YouTube comments. Will the season start before Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery sign a contract? By the time everyone's listening or watching this, it'll be 9 days before the season starts.
Yeah, give a comment below. I'd love to know that.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. Cody Clemens had himself a day as we record this on Sunday. 2 grand slams.
Wow. That's more than a hell of a day.
The Rocket.
That's my guy. Roger Clemens is Pedro and him are my 2 favorite pitchers of all time.
Well, did you see the Rocket and Roy Oswalt, former Philly, pitch for the Savannah Bananas this weekend?
Roger Clemens' fit was unmatched. That was hilarious. The hoodie went full Keenan Allen.
Dude, it's so wild that Roger Clemens is like adjacently part of the Phillies organization right now.
Yeah. Lucky you guys.
Like, he was throwing batting practice last year for the Phils when Cody Clemens was on the roster.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's so sick.
That's sick. Good. Roger Clemens the GOAT, man. I'm sorry.
Roger. Can I call you Roger? Can I call you Roger?
I think he would. I think he would mind. I don't think he'd mind.
Come on the show. Come on the show.
Come hang.
How hard would you faint if Roger Clemens came on the podcast?
It'd be. I wouldn't faint completely, but I would be a little starstruck. It wouldn't get to like Pedro levels, but
would you be like the Elmo gif where he?
A little bit, like because I saw Roger Clemens' last game at Fenway. It was Sunday Night Baseball, Yanks Sox, and it was Clemens versus Schilling. Unbelievable pitcher's duel. Got there early for batting practice because like I love Roger Clemens. Saw him throw a good game. Sox ended up winning. Everyone won. It was great.
So yeah, let's see. Jordan Montgomery odds here. It's very funny to me that everyone is saying that the Red Sox are the favorite to sign one of these two guys.
Dude,
they're not spending money at all.
Dude, they're not in tune. They care about Liverpool more than they do themselves.
Oh, Liverpool across the pond.
They're worried about the effing Brits over our own baseball team. No, it's fine. We don't need to care about our baseball team. It's not just the bloodline of the city that makes all the crazy fans go yeah in the summer. You know what I mean? No, I don't love going to Red Sox games and getting shit-faced. No, it's not. No. Why wouldn't you put a good team there to make it watchable?
You're going to go to a Phillies game before you go back to a Red Sox game.
Yeah, because guess what? The Phillies have deserved it. They've been playing great baseball. And as the champ of the peeps, I should go there with my Philly peeps and experience that. I don't need to experience the Sox bullshit right now. I need to experience like energy, a positivity.
Your old pal Kyle Schwarber.
Dude, I want to see Kyle from Waltham. Like, come on.
Well, he's Kyle from South Philly now.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Wawa ambassador Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, we got to go to Wawa like multiple times when I'm down there. Like, I'm just gonna.
Wawa needs to sponsor your trip.
Dude, are you kidding me? Wawa is like made for me.
It's king.
I go to my convenience store / deli, whatever, like 5 times a week to get lunch, zins, this, like everything.
Well, here's the
Wawa
fun part.
just is that.
There's 3 Wawas within like 2 miles of my house.
Well, it's great. We can try them all. Like this is you're just making it easier for me.
Dude, Wawa has pizza now.
Okay. So the best pizza from
free ads.
No free ads here.
I mean, if Wawa
the best pizza I've ever had from not a pizza place has been from Cumberland Farms. Easily, without a doubt. Don't ask why. Their pizza could be served at like a sub shop and it would be as good. I need to experience Wawa, not only the pizza, but the sandwiches. Like, I want to go full in. I want to taste it a little bit. I want to, experience that. So I think I went to Wawa like once when I was coming back from Camden for a service trip. Only reason you catch me in Camden, New Jersey is to do some community service. And I went to Wawa once and it was like, I know I went, but there was nothing like memorable that I got there. So
not to interrupt our love of Wawa. Shout out, no free shout outs, but we do have breaking news.
Do we really?
Breaking NFL news.
Oh.
From Adam Schefter.
Oh.
After an attempted but failed opportunity to work out a restructured contract, the San Francisco 49ers now plan to release defensive lineman Eric Armstead.
Oh, I did see. Okay. All right.
Come
on, New England, baby. Need it. Oh, that's incredible. Everyone's just leaving.
Get them out.
There's no money for anybody.
Eric Armstead saw Nick Bosa at UFC 299 and said, "Get me out of here."
I hate that team so much. I hate that team so much.
I just got to remind you, Pitsy, boombox.
Fuck yourself.
It's like one of your trigger words if you were the
dude, because I just see
Winter
Debo
Soldier.
Samuel doing a stupid fucking dance. Like, and we got, and we.
That's awesome. Speaking of Fletcher Cox, he went out on top and absolutely dunked on Debo when the 49ers lost. Did you see his Instagram post?
No.
When the 49ers lost?
I think I heard about it, though, but.
Fletch said, I got to pull these up so I can read them verbatim. It's so funny. He posted literally after the 49ers lost. I still got some you ain't got. Yeah, I've been holding this one in, son. Eat a dick.
Yes. We love you, Fletch. That's incredible.
The first slide, though, was a bunch of clown emojis at 19 problems. Keep the Eagles out your mouth, BOE. And then it was followed by, I still got some you ain't got. Yeah, I've been holding this one in, son. EAD.
That's, dude.
Went out on top like
all
king.
Time. All time.
Fletch the
all
goat.
Time.
But yeah, Phils, we're ever so close to our live tailgate event, to opening day. Whole bunch of stuff going down. I'm very excited. It's crazy how quickly time is moving. But baseball's on the horizon. I can't wait. Next Thursday is going to be an absolute doozy of a time. 6 a.m. baseball into March Madness.
That's just unbelievable.
It's peak. It's peak. Love it. Love it. Let's shift to the hockey pits. It's brought to you by our pals over at Kenwood Beer, official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, only 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. Pitsy's going to be downing responsibly Kenwood beers when he's here in April. And you can do the same. When you go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder. See who's got Kenny's on tap in the Philadelphia, Maryland, New Jersey, and Pittsburgh areas. And, of course, you can get it at your local liquor stores in those markets. And, of course, check out the Kenny storefront for their merch, from pint glasses to awesome apparel, the whole 9 yards. Kenwoodbeer.com. Got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. Pitts, the Flyers, they made some trades at the deadline. They kind of stayed the course of how they've been operating. And last night in Tampa, as we record this on Sunday, it was not pretty. It was not pretty in Tampa. But it was pretty on Thursday when they beat the best team in the league, the Florida Panthers, 2-1.
That's a big win.
Big, massive win.
Massive.
But then on Saturday down in Tampa, get kiboshed and lose 7-0 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. John Tortorella calling the refs out for bullshit calls, as he should. We need to hold refs more accountable than what we do. Ref soft as tissue paper, softer than 1-ply.
Oh,
tosses Tortorella out of the game. Tortorella yells back, I'm not leaving. Fuck you. I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here.
Just a king.
Dan Hilferty, who is the new head of Comcast Spectacor and in charge of the Flyers and everything, literally said he will pay any fine that is thrown Tortorella's way.
No, that's an org. We love
what
that.
A dog.
That's someone who supports their head coach.
Just absolutely amazing. I want to pull up everything here that has happened since the tossing of John Tortorella from the game last night. Yeah, so John Tortorella got fined $50,000.
Wow.
And has been suspended for 2 games by the NHL.
Ridiculous.
Soft. Absolutely soft.
That's so soft.
And a good point here that Jamie Baskow, who covers the Flyers, brought up. So John Tortorella got suspended for more games than when Evgeny Malkin swung his stick like a baseball bat and hit a player back in 2019.
Yes, we don't care about that. You were disrespecting our referees, so we have to treat you as such. where swinging of sticks is okay, Kyle. It's frowned upon, but it's not illegal.
I am going to send you this clip so you can watch Tortorella lose his
I can't
ever-living
wait.
goddamn mind, as he should have.
Well, yeah.
It is just
7-0.
pure poetry in motion. It's just ridiculous that, like, he should not be suspended. He should not be getting fined $50K for what he did. And that referee is going to continue refereeing with no implications, no repercussions. Yet the guy who's calling him out for being bad at his job, it's crazy how we, like, coddle referees in pro sports.
It is. It really is. Oh, he's getting mad. Oh, he's. Dude, what's up with the Solo Sokoa wrap thumb? Is he about to?
I think he had surgery on his thumb.
Dude, he should have hit the refs with a Samoan spike. Like, what are we doing? WrestleMania is vastly approaching. Have you not been following the product, John? Dude, he's pissed. He ain't.
Like, we need to stop coddling referees and, like, making them these untouchable entities.
Yeah, they make mistakes just as much as we do.
If not more.
Way
like,
more.
They should be called out on their bullshit when it needs to be called out. And it's just crazy that, like, they are these, like, demigods that cannot be questioned, cannot be touched. And even when they fuck up, they can still continue on their merry way and keep their job, not face any repercussions for it. I just don't get it.
Bro, I was the worst when it came to being refereed. Because I don't, as you know, I have an answer for everything. You can come at me with something and I'll have at least something to say. Well, that goes the same thing for referees. So anytime they had a call, I was like, what? Like, I would always say something. And
come on.
Like, B Pitts did not like it. He was my coach. He would just be like, just shut your mouth. I'm like, well, they gotta be held accountable too. Oh my god, I was like, I wouldn't say I was worse than Draymond, but like CYO basketball had their own little Spitfire Irishman.
You walked away, you're like, blah, 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 blah. You still don't get this podcast.
You see, dude, they tried to throw me out of a game for wearing a sleeve. They were like, you can't wear that.
Shame.
They were like, you can't wear that. And I'm like, why? Like, do you have a shoulder injury? I'm like, no. They're like, you can't wear that. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't say fuck you, but I would like to say it.
You should have said the power of Christ compels you.
Just throw the sleeve at them. Dude, I had sick drip. All right. We had I had the sleeve that matched the uni. My sneaker game was en fuego. Like, I was the my player you create to dominate the NBA.
Quote card that expeditiously.
I had such drip, it was insane. Like, I had the sneakers that they're called air talking crazies. You could write like messages on it with a magic marker. It had like it was unreal. Look them up. I had those. I'd write my like initials and like jersey number on it. I was the worst. Oh, I was the worst.
Speaking of the worst, nobody showed Jay Billis the video of Kyle Filipowski tripping a UNC player, because remember, he lost his leg when student section stormed the court a couple weeks ago. Jay Billis wanted to detain and throw in jail anyone that stormed the court.
Okay, yeah, now I get this. Okay. Oh, so we're moving on to this now. Okay.
Yeah, I just sent Pitts.
Yeah.
But yeah, free John Tortorella.
Yeah, free Torts.
Free Torts, hashtag. But moving to the Union to round out the show, it is brought to you by our pals over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game, from sunglasses to blue light glasses, and of course those prescription lenses. They've got you covered to protect your eyeballs when you're watching the Philadelphia Union or your favorite sports teams when you're outside. Protect your eyes from the sun. Go to tomahawkshades.com or use the Tomahawk Shades app that you can download in the App Store or Google Play Store. And when you go to checkout, use code USP for 25% off your order. That is code USP for 25% off your order from our pals at Tomahawk Shades.
Bruv.
So yeah, Philadelphia Union had a game on Saturday. It was rained out within 5 minutes and 36 seconds, and I sent Pitsy the videos
Watching
of the field
videos
and everything.
dude.
Shout out my guy Jose Roberto Nunez on the tweet machine, covers the Union. Would love to get him on this show.
That ball went nowhere.
Dude, how insane is that?
Dude, that ball just stuck. This the second video, whatever.
Dude, they were squeegeeing the field.
Oh, I got to that. But he kicks it and the ball just dies. Like it just doesn't go anywhere. And then he kicks it up again and it goes in the air a little loft, but then hits the turf and immediately just dies. Then the best part is they're shoveling this water like it's a nor'easter outside.
Like it's snow.
Like, dude, this is like as thick as 2 inches, 3 inches of snow. And like, oh, like how you can swim in this shit.
Yeah,
That's
so
insane,
Jose's
bro.
tweet says, I spoke with folks with turf management experience ranging from Penn State baseball, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, and golf courses, and they all unanimously said the same thing. There's no way any field could keep up with that much water. Here's a couple details they shared. Turf in February and March does not move water as well as it does from May through September. The rain earlier in the week had already saturated the soil, making it harder to successfully drain. One source shared that at 7 p.m. it was communicated to the officials that the field was playable. Between then and kickoff, things had deteriorated so quickly that the root zone could not move the water fast enough to the draining tile. Nothing that folks at Subaru Park could do. Mother Nature won.
No, Mother Nature did not win. She dominated. She did not want that game played for whatever reason, because that was without a doubt the most water I've seen on a soccer pitch ever.
Yeah, that's insane. So the game is
insane.
rescheduled, and when it starts back up, it will start 5 minutes and 36 seconds into the game. But wild scene at Subaru Park. At the Sub.
Wild scene.
It is great that like the Philadelphia sports teams, like stadiums, all have great abbreviations for themselves. Like Lincoln Financial Field is the Link.
The Link.
Citizens Bank Park is the Bank. Wells Fargo Center is the FARG. Subaru Park is
the FOG.
Is the Sub. Like it's so good, like perfect.
We don't have any of that up here. Yeah, well, we have more historical, legendary terms up here. The Garden, Fenway.
Yeah, you just have one words.
One words. Yep.
Gillette.
Fenway, the Garden. No one calls it TD Garden. Like what?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Andover. Get the fuck out of here. I don't believe in you.
Speaking of which, one last thing to round out the show is brought to you by the PLL app and our PLL app code. Download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, wherever you get your apps, and go to the redeem code section and use code OTBPOD for 500 XP in the PLL app. It really does help us continue to grow, helps the PLL see that people are tuning in and listening to our shows and using our code, because they're able to track anyone that uses it in terms of like code redemption. Pitsy used it recently before we started recording, and he got 500 XP and he leveled up immediately in the PLL app. It is so useful. It is one of the best tools out there that we use for outside the box, and you can use it to keep up with the Waterdogs or your favorite PLL team. So download the PLL app, go to the redeem code section, and use code OTBPOD for 500 XP in the PLL app. The Waterdogs homecoming passes have been acquired, Pitsy.
Let's go.
So
we love to hear that.
Lucky fans will be sitting in the Underground Sports / outside the box seats in the Waterdogs supporter section in June 15th and 16th, and we are up to something that weekend. We are planning some big things alongside the PLL that I'm very excited. Once more details come, you will hear about them, but we have the homecoming pass seats, and 2 lucky fans will be sitting in those seats June 15th and 16th for Waterdogs homecoming weekend. And the Waterdogs head coaching search has been going on this week, and 7 names were name dropped that we will be going into detail on OTB later this week. But some big names, Pitsy, some big names. Both Philadelphia adjacent, lacrosse, big name-wise. One of them, I'm sure you know, Brody Merrill. Ever heard of him?
Heard of that. I've heard of that name.
Cannons legend, played for the Waterdogs for a year, though, and just served as a assistant coach during the Champ Series for the Boston Cannons. He's on that list. Tony Resch is on that list. Joe Spallina is on that list. And some other names as well that we will be diving into on OTB. But the coaching search continues, and some big names getting signed to extensions this week as well. Ryan Conrad locked up through 2025. Jack Hanna locked up through 2026. And people are saying that I might have the script for the Waterdogs.
You probably do, and they're just not sharing it. That'd be very something.
I can say that I inadvertently do not believe I have the script, but about 4 or 5 days ago, I quote tweeted my good pal and Waterdogs beat writer Wyatt Miller, saying that the Waterdogs had a bunch of guys signed through 2024, but it would not shock me if those guys got taken care of and extended to longer term deals. And that's when Ryan Conrad and Jack Hanna both got extended. That was after Michael Sowers signed his 3-year extension through 2026. And then obviously the Brody Merrill being included in the head coaching search happened. Deej and I talked about Brody Merrill as a potential interview candidate. And I said, do I have the script? And Wyatt said, if that happens, I most certainly do have the script.
Bro, you literally have been on with pretty much everything you said, because I'll be at work and check Twitter, and then it's just like, oh, didn't we just talk about that? It's just like, oh, yeah, I just said that. All right, cool. Nice to be part of something.
And shout out to friend and supporter of the program, Blaze Reardon. Obviously plays for the Wings and in Philadelphia for the NLL season, but PLL season, he's part of the Carolina Chaos, and I may have broken the news about his extension to the people. So
just
congrats to the boy Blaze on signing his extension with Chaos, and he's a captain on that team and a big time piece of that program, and happy for one of our own to get his payday.
We like to hear it. We'd like to see it too.
That is all we have for you guys on this episode. Make sure you are following us on the socials at Underground PHI on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook.com/Underground Sports PHI, Twitch.tv/Underground Sports PHI. You can follow Pitsy on Twitter at Pat_Pitts. You can follow him on Instagram and Threads at Pitsy35. You can follow me at KBIZZL311 and KBIZZLE11 on Instagram and Threads. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire catalog of podcasts on your podcast app of choice. So keep subscribing. Keep leaving 5-star ratings and reviews. It really does help us hit new milestones and helps us keep doing dope stuff with and for you guys. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Let's get to 800 subscribers before Selection Sunday is over.
Do it.
Let's make that happen. We're at 752 right now. 48 more people. Let's make that happen. Keep subscribing. And of course, get your merch, phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your order. And this show is presented by the City of Vineland. And whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process. And their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100 Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And of course, big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. This has been episode number 619 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. We will be back Wednesday night live. Show will be out on Thursday. Ryan Hammer joining Stevie Mack on that episode. Get ready. Big time interview there. But until then, we are getting the heck up out of here. We are signing off. Peace.